a couple of key scams to look out for in the wake of this type of disaster. The first is a contractor scam. This is where someone pretending to be a contractor tries to pressure homeowners into putting down a deposit fee to, quote, hold their spot and guarantee construction that may never occur. Scammers might also pretend to be insurance adjusters, demanding payment for filing a claim or seeking personal identifying information. They may pose as a government official or relief organization like FEMA, fire restoration, or an insurance company asking for, again, personal information or demanding a fee for services that are actually free. There's no fee for government services like these at these times. There are 5 important ways you can stay vigilant and protect yourself from scams like this. Verify credentials. Don't be afraid. And I encourage you to check licenses, certifications, reviews for contractors, adjusters, charities. Make sure that who you're dealing with is legitimate. Be skeptical of demands for upfront payments. That's a red flag. If they're saying they're going to help you, but they need a significant upfront payment, be suspicious. Confirm authenticity through official channels. I always encourage you to go to official government sites, including our own, DOJ's website. We have a registry search tool there where you can confirm that charities are legitimate, that you are thinking about donating to. That's at oag.ca.gov/charities. Monitor your bank accounts to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of and defrauded. Report fraud immediately to local law enforcement or to my office at oag.ca.gov. We want to do our part to help to stop the fraud and help any other victims from becoming victims. Finally, we've seen reports of looting. There's no way around it. Looting is wrong. Looting is unlawful. The idea of going into a disaster area to take advantage of the people who have been forced to evacuate and stealing their property is unimaginable, and it's happening. Don't do it. It's illegal. It's also dangerous, and interferes with our first responders who are doing important work and can divert critical and limited resources. So to anyone who would go out and take advantage of this tragedy for their greedy gain, who would further victimize people who have potentially lost everything, who are already victims, who would look at this devastation and see dollar signs, I have a message for you. You will be held accountable. My office will be engaged to hold you accountable. As I close, I want to take a moment to thank our firefighters, law enforcement, first responders, the Cal Guard service members who are on the ground, saving lives, helping people through this tragic time. Thank you to all of you for what you've done, what you are doing, what you will do. They're heroes, and they deserve our unending support. Under California law, reserve firefighters, police officers, and rescue personnel have the right to take leave from work to help respond to the fires, as do National Guard, who are called to state active duty. I encourage employers across the state to support employees who are selfless enough to put their lives on the line to serve and save our communities. I urge everyone in the greater LA area to please pay attention to official alerts, red flag warnings, and available sites. Our alarm is now, so you're ready if the time comes. There are many things in this home that are very valuable to you, but nearly everything in your homes. My office has put out guidance and model policies to assist California shelters and ensure they do their part to protect the rights of immigrants and their families. This guidance can be found at our website at oag.ca.gov/resources. I want to end with this. Californians are resilient. California is strong. We are strong, especially when, as now, we stand united. We will get through this. LA will get through this together, and we will rebuild and we will heal. California DOJ is here, ready, willing, able to support Angelenos and local law enforcement and local officials in any and every way we can. We are at your service. I will come back at the end to answer questions if there are any, but for now, please allow me to welcome Supervisor Horvath to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Thank you for your strong leadership. The partnership of the Attorney General's office and the unwavering support that he personally offers during such a critical and devastating time for Los Angeles County is invaluable. Your leadership in protecting our communities from exploitation is essential as we navigate the challenges posed by these devastating windstorms and fires. Yesterday, I visited the Westwood Recreation Center, one of our evacuation centers scattered throughout the 3rd District, where I witnessed both immense loss and the strength and resilience of our community. I spoke with families who have lost everything, their homes, their cherished memories, and who are facing an uncertain future. Unfortunately, even in these times of crisis, there are those who would seek to take advantage of vulnerable people, and this is absolutely unacceptable. We have received troubling reports of price gouging, particularly in the rental market. In some cases, right here in my own district, listing agents are raising rents on the spot, preying on families who have been displaced, many of whom have lost their homes or don't even know what the current status of their home is. While they are sitting in uncertainty in the face of unthinkable tragedy, these people are preying on those who desperately need shelter and support at a time like this. Let me be clear, this is price gouging and it is absolutely unacceptable. If you have experienced or witnessed price gouging, as you have heard, please report it immediately at oag.ca.gov/report or contact your local police department or sheriff's office. These laws exist to protect our communities, and we must be sure that they are enforced. We heard at this morning's press conference of an issue with GoFundMe, and we're already actively working with them to address the recent scams that have cropped up since the start of the fires. We've received reports of individuals re-entering mandatory evacuation zones to take advantage of disaster situations. This will not be tolerated. Law enforcement is actively addressing these incidents to ensure safety and security of our communities. While people are sitting waiting to get back to their homes, they should not be waiting with the fear of uncertainty that people are preying on these spaces. While we understand the deep frustration and deep desire to check on your homes and belongings, re-entering these areas poses significant risks for public safety and ongoing emergency operations. Please honor the evacuation orders. They are in place to protect everyone. I was personally out with the assistance of CAL FIRE and LA County Fire yesterday. There are downed power lines. There are light posts that have been bent over streets. It is unsafe for people to be in these areas, and we're working to make it safe. But please allow us the opportunity before you come back into these spaces. Anyone who doesn't will be arrested and prosecuted. We have help and support for one another, and we must not further victimize or traumatize people who are already enduring so much. Please follow all instructions for mandatory evacuation zones. You can go to emergency.lacounty.gov for the latest updates. And we know in times like these, it is essential that we hold true to the values that make Los Angeles County strong: compassion, care, and community. Many of our neighbors have lost everything. Let's be there for one another, hold space for one another, support one another, and show the resilience and unity that must carry us through these challenging times. Thank you once again, Attorney General Bonta, to Sheriff Luna, to Chief McDonald, and all of our officials and great partners standing with us during this time. All of us together, we will overcome this crisis and begin the process of recovery and rebuilding. And I'd now like to introduce Sheriff Robert Luna.
Thank you, Supervisor. And on behalf of all the residents of Los Angeles County, specifically the over 150,000 that have been under evacuation orders, I'd like to thank the Attorney General for holding this presser today and emphasizing the fact that if anybody is going to try and take advantage of any of our residents, specifically those who have tragically had significant loss, we're not going to tolerate it. Whether it's at the local law enforcement level through the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department or the Attorney General, and he spoke for a while about the different scams, whether it involves burglary and looting, we're not going to tolerate it. Last night, I received a call from the U.S. Attorney General, Martin Estrada. He is very interested in getting any case that we have that involves any of these type of incidences, and he pledged that the federal government would also be assisting us in any investigation or prosecution at all. It's been well stated that the local district attorney, Nathan Hoffman, is also fully engaged in this. What I'm trying to send is, you're out there, you're trying to take advantage of somebody, you're burglarizing in one of these evacuation areas, you're trying to scam somebody, we're going to get you. And I want to make it clear, and I said it this morning, that every arrest that we're making specifically for curfew violations, and we made a couple of those last night in the curfew area or the affected area, I have directed our deputies that those individuals will not be cited and released for misdemeanors. They're going to do jail time. And that's the message I'm sending out there, that if you're involved in this time of crisis and you're trying to hurt people, it's not going to go very well. I do want to reemphasize that we do have a curfew in the impacted areas that starts at 6 p.m. at night and goes through 6 a.m. Please stay out of those areas if you are not an emergency worker. We have very strict not only the warnings, but the mandates that have gone out for the orders to make sure that we're not allowing people back in there. We're getting a lot of calls and saying, hey, I need this or I need that. You cannot go into these areas. And it's not just because we're trying to inconvenience you. They're actually still dangerous. It's been described here with down lines, open gas lines, and things of that nature. So we will continue to do that. I would like to thank the governor. We have 400 California National Guardsmen that are helping in the Los Angeles County area, the city of Los Angeles, Pasadena, Santa Monica, and a couple of other communities within our affected area. With that, I am going to turn it over to my partner, Chief Jim McDonald from the Los Angeles Police Department.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning. In the wake of devastating fires, I want to acknowledge the incredible strength and resilience of our community as shown during this really difficult time. It's inspiring to see neighbors coming together to support one another. And I want to just assure everybody in the city of Los Angeles that the LAPD is fully committed to ensuring your safety and the well-being as we move forward. You've heard over from a couple of speakers now just the issues that are going on in the aftermath of the fires, where we have scammers actively targeting vulnerable individuals and families, exploiting their distress, and we have some warnings that you should check out on the web to be able to avoid some of this happening to you. These disasters often attract individuals seeking to take advantage of others, and certainly this fire, as big as it is, has been no exception. Scams targeting fire victims may begin to surface, whether in the form of fraudulent charity requests, as you heard, unscrupulous contractors, or phishing attempts that impersonate legitimate relief organizations. To anyone who may have been targeted by a scam, know that our investigators are here to help.
This morning, the fire was taking an eastern approach. It was in Sullivan Canyon, and then it started to spot ahead of itself. I think you were on the air, and we saw some of those small spot fires where it started to establish itself in Mandeville Canyon. Once it got established in Mandeville Canyon, it became what's called a terrain-driven fire, and that terrain just goes directly south. Mandeville Canyon starts in the north about Encino and heads directly south, and the mouth of it on the southern end is right into Brentwood. So you're watching a fire that doesn't necessarily follow the path of the wind direction, because now it's making its own weather and its own wind, and it's chewing up the topography that's in its way, and just right directed towards Brentwood. The fortunate thing about that is the fire department obviously has prepared for that motion and movement. And so in all these neighborhoods in the mouth of Mandeville Canyon are filled with firemen. They've directed all the water drops to this area, and we're fortunate enough to have the Encino Reservoir so close where the load and return is just within minutes. But let me just back out for a second here, and you'll just see how big this fire it just looks and has grown. And notice the plume. The plume of smoke was going towards the north earlier in the fire, and now it's changed directions. It's going towards the south. And that's what I mean by being terrain driven and pointing towards the south. And now it's actually creating its own weather. So this southern flank is what we're worried about. I'll go to the right a little bit. You'll see north where you see these the smoke here. That's like Mulholland Highway, and here's Encino, and then we're coming back towards there's the canyons of Sullivan Canyon and Mandeville Canyon. Where the fire's most established right now is in Sullivan Canyon, and so you see this is where now the firefight is going to happen. You'll see a lot of aerial tankers, fixed-wing aircraft are being ordered up right now, and every helicopter they have available is being thrown at this to stop this forward progress.
It is chilling to watch that, knowing the potential of the damage and the loss. These multi-million-dollar homes up there in Brentwood. And Marcel, really, you did what I was going to ask you to do, which is give us a lay of the land, letting our viewers know you are such an asset. Previously, you were a firefighter EMT, so you come from that perspective. And show us again real quick, if you can, the Getty Villa, the 405, that perspective. That's down to the bottom left of the screen, correct?
Right. This is where Getty is. We're quite a ways away from Getty. And, you know, here's the 405, here's Getty. And as I open up and pan to the right, you'll see this is where I'm talking about. This is where actually this is Sullivan Canyon and Mandeville Canyon. Now I want you to notice something. Remember we talked about these fires on Tuesday that were actually fueled by the high winds. This is where it's going to be a grace for the firefighters right now. Without the high winds, they're able to get in position and prepare. Now, not saying that it's not going to be impacted, but look at how many firemen are here and they're ready to go. They are at a moment's notice. They are ready to spring into action. They're watching this fire, and this is what we predicted the fire was going to do when we knew it hit Mandeville Canyon. So this is not a surprise, and I want to say a word of caution to the Brentwood people that if you're still in Brentwood, you need to evacuate.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube.
Cascade window. That was a cascade. Oh, yeah. Oh,